So I go with the big circle shape of the pumpkin here. I would like to place it into my paper. More space I prefer to have on the top part, less for the bottom part. This is not exactly circle-y shape. On top, it's more straight. But it's cover whole my paper or canvas. This is the whole shape of the simple shape of the pumpkin. And we have the details on top for this section. I go with the brown just for a quick drawing. Something like that. And then this is the stem of my pumpkin. Narrow on top, and then when it's moved down, it's a little bit thicker. I keep it like that. Start to finish the whole pumpkin, and then we can move on for the details later more. And it's divided into different sections, like this section, like this section. But first of all, I need to make the base. So I start with the orange tone, heavy paint to cover it, but I know on the top part it's more light. At the same time, I don't really draw. I bring the yellow ochre on top and add on top of my pumpkin. It gives me a nice result because it's already can mix into the orange color. I already have the orange, and on top the yellow ochre mixed with that, and it gives me a nice and beautiful mixture. So back to orange. I know acrylic draw fast. Because of that, I divide it into different sections to finish it. So I start with the left side. And even I know that the leaves will come on top and cover it. And now I just add a little bit brown into my orange here to make it just a bit darker. And I start from the bottom part of my pumpkin, move it up. From the top, I start from the top part and move it down, but from the darkness, I start from the bottom part of my pumpkin and move toward the center. But make sure not to lose the orange color of your pumpkin, which is so lovely. And then clean your brush back to your orange. Cleaning the brush, I prefer to go with just napkin. I prefer not to add a water on top of my brush because I would like to have look like oil color painting. So now I divide this half, move it with the orange color on top. The base is a start with the orange. On top you can add a little yellow ochre, and on the bottom part you can add a little bit brown. But the whole space is just the orange color. And I will go with the heavy paint. Heavy paint is so helpful and not let it draw so fast. So it gives you time to bring another paint on top and let it mix with this first layer color. I bring a little yellow ochre on top. And already both colors are wet and fade into each other. And try to keep the shape of pumpkin because it's a little bit like like a ball. So we need to go a little bit, draw our line as a curve, not straight. You see, I go as a curve. All my line is look like the curve. And clean my brush. I start with the bottom part with this reddish brown and try to bring it a little bit on toward the center. If your orange color be dry, your brown is a little bit get darker. So don't worry, it's okay. We need this a little dark color as well. And I just keep the shape of curve everywhere. And then clean my brush with napkin. I start again the right side with another curved brush stroke with orange. Little bit light color tone on top of our pumpkin because it has some movement which is a little bit lighter. And I would like to add those on top. Even I see some darkness here as a red color here. I would like to add another tone which is red. Let me just a tiny bit red because my red is so warm and shiny and it's cadmium red. I just would like to have little red with yellow ochre and orange, mix it together. It gives me warm color. Even when you mix with yellow ochre, your red is already reduced that really sharp color and it's moved toward darker orange, something like that. And it's nice color even for our pumpkin. The first layer is dry, I think, but here is a little wet. So again, I back to my orange, some brush stroke, bring it on top to make it wet, and then yellow ochre. Because when you work more and more on top of your acrylic paint, it's really good because make your painting more powerful and more heavy. And with the texture, even it's so lovely. And then bring it some yellow ochre again on top. And now in some part we need this color. Red color mixed with yellow ochre to bring even a little bit red more to add. 1 or 2 stroke I would like to bring to make my pumpkin a little darker. Even I can bring orange as well to help those mix into each other. Just some brush stroke would be fine. And you can have another brush in your hand, smaller one, for this tiny white color around. I know that those are so light, but it's not completely white. I take my white and yellow ochre, mix these two together, And then I bring some brush stroke here. There is some tiny bit details I can see here, and I can see here. Here a little bit. And here some brush stroke. At the same time, I would like to have orange and yellow ochre. I would like to have my color a little bit more powerful and more texture to use. A little bit orange. I will bring it on top, and yellow, pure yellow ochre first. Then with white color, you can help this movement just separate your details. Even here on the orange part, on the, sorry, right side. With yellow ochre, make it lighter tone. A little red. And then I bring some white color, adding, because it's wet, and give me nice result when I add the white color. White color I add just with a small brush. Even you can leave it after you finish everything. Add some details with this light tone. And a little darker brown to make separate here. Here a little bit, just one stroke. And here. Even I prefer to mix my brown with red. So I mix my reddish brown with a little bit red, and then try to add some line for separation, like here around my pumpkin. Now we can add these details for the stem of our pumpkin. So we have already brown in our palette, which is reddish brown, burnt sienna. In some part, we need to have that a pure color, but in some part, oh, where is this? But in some part, it's a little bit darker value here. So I add a tiny bit black to reach both color. We can use pure brown, and we can use the mixture of those. So this, take a little bit brown, just a bit black, mix with it. I would like to reach darker value of brown, just a bit, make it thicker. And when you reach to the pure orange color of pumpkin, make it thicker here, a little bit like a triangle shape, move into that. Tiny triangle, move into here. And then a tiny bit should be here. Even here can be straight. And one part should be separate this section, and one part here. And then move it up, cover whole this pumpkin stem. After that, we can use another tone. Now I know lots of white color we can bring on top and make those separate from each other, or even the light tone. So I add a tiny bit white into my brown, or even yellow ochre into my light brown, because there is two line will come here to make it lighter. So I go with reddish brown and I go with the yellow ochre. Mix these two together. Draw one line into the darkness of the stem of my pumpkin. And I can go with another one like this. We keep it like that. And just a tiny bit white color we need to bring with the smaller brush. Add some more details. For example, just one small line here. And one small line here with a pure white color, one small line here on top. You can go with heavy paint, like here, and add some pure white color, like that. I just go with pure white color to add a little bit details around. And then leave it get dry. I use pure green color and I use a little bit lighter, so I take some. I bring with yellow ochre to mix with, and some of them like this and like this is come on top of our pumpkin. But for the one is on top, no, it's not covered. So I take my mid-tone color. This is a dark tone, mid-tone, and the light tone. So I take one that I mix with yellow ochre, and I draw to the shape of my leaf. It's look like that. It's a little bit zigzaggy here, and it's pass and reach to my side of the surface or canvas. I can color all this, I can fill it actually with one tone. It's okay. And I prefer to see my brush stroke because it's so lovely. Even you can add some zigzaggy shape here on edges. Not really straight and curved. So I use heavy paint. And I see this part is darker, so I go with the pure green color that I have on my palette. And mine is hooker green. It's a really sharp green color. Sometimes I'm not happy with it and I mix with just a bit brown. When you add with the brown color, your green is moved toward darkness and warm color.
Okay, good to know.
Yes, if you would like to have a warmer tone or darker tone, it's okay to add a little brown into that. And then apply here. I really love texture to see, because of that I prefer to go with heavy paint. Heavy paint make your painting more with heavy texture on top. And then I apply a little bit darkness here to add. And the other point we need to know about the heavy texture, we need add less pressure on our hand, because if we add more pressure, we can lift up our paint on top of surface. So I add some tone with this darkness on the both sides. Like that, I apply. I know on the edges a little bit darker, lighter tone I have, but give my leaf a little bit get dry, and then I will add another tone on top later. That's fine for here. So both color, and then I apply with this lighter tone for some edges that I have, not everywhere. You see on the edges, especially here, we have some lighter tone. Just one brush stroke, it's interesting to bring. Even on the top, it's just a pure yellow ochre. On edges, I will bring some stroke with the pure yellow ochre, like that. If you feel it's still wet and it doesn't give us a good result, we can wait everything get dry and after that add some details. Even the white color, pure white color, I can bring it and shape the center of my leaf like this. We have some details on top of each leaf. And I use tip of my flat brush for these details. And then leave it get dry. Which is mid-tone value I prefer to start with. I go with this one. So this time a little bit we can move inside the pumpkin as well. I go like that, reach here, shape it like this, and then from here again it's moved into the pumpkin as well, and then connect it like that so that they can feel it. You can feel it actually in between. So let me and we need a tiny stem to add here, and here it should be dark on the bottom part of pumpkin. So I fill all these leaves with one value. I shape it like that, and I move on into the darker tone and add from center. I divide it into one line. From center I spread just some brush stroke everywhere. And when they both color are wet, very gently they mix into each other. It's so nice, give us a nice result. Yeah, and yeah, you don't need to be worried about the edges make, and they already very nice mix into each other. Even we can add some here like that. So we finished with the leaves and the pumpkin. Now the last thing is a dark background, which is come on top and make our pumpkin comes out and bring it out and more interesting. And it's not just one color. You see here, it's a little bit lighter tone and dark tone. It's more interesting to use two value in painting, not just one. So we have this brown, we have black. I would like to mix these two together to reach the darker value. This is the darkest part. And for the lightest part, I have reddish brown. I would like to mix it tiny bit red. This is a lighter tone, and some brush stroke would be interesting to mix this with the darker brown. So I go with the bigger brush. And I would like to have an idea where I have to add this background color. Be gently, not touch the leaves or pumpkin. Start with the dark tone. Exactly the edges is a little darker. So I try to be careful. With the tip of my brush, I will add the tone around my pumpkin and leaf. The reason I go with flat brush is because I'm happy with the tip of my flat brush, and it's so helpful to move it everywhere through the small part and make more details around. So it's so helpful. So I add a tone here, and then I move on into the lighter brown that I mentioned. So I add lighter brown when I reach the paper or canvas. Try to use two different values. More interesting.